start, yeah. I'll get it right. I get this feeling when I'm chilling in the night. I'm always winning and you always picking fights. I'll get it right. I'll get it right. Yeah. I keep running.
That was Get It Right by up-and-coming rapper James the Prophet. Based in France, the 20-year-old is being touted by the French media as the artist to follow and the voice of a new generation of socially conscious and active rappers. And he joins me in the studio in real life. It's so nice to have a real guest in the studio. You're just about to release your first album.
Yep.
It's called Unimaginable Storms, which is actually also the title of a book your grandfather wrote, Psychoanalyst. Why did you choose that title for your first album?
Well, to me, the idea of unimaginable storms kind of represents the idea that you could be 6 feet away from someone and have no idea what they're going through. And I was actually even thinking of it in the taxi on my way here this morning, because I didn't talk to the taxi driver and it was silent. And I was just thinking, what could he be thinking in his mind? There's so many things that could be happening. So it's kind of that idea of unimaginable storms.
Unimaginable Storms. So it's released on March 12th. You were actually supposed to record this album last year about this time.
Yeah.
Of course, the pandemic hit. There was the first confinement. So instead, you recorded a mixtape of freestyles in your bedroom. You actually donated the proceeds of that to the public hospital system here in Paris. What inspired you to do that?
Well, at the time, COVID was hitting really hard, and I had a neighbor, I still have a neighbor, who's a doctor at Hôpital Necker.
So it's a children's
hospital in Paris, yeah. And so she was dealing with lots of really bad cases with young children, and so she would come home from work at night, and we'd be at the windows at 8 p.m. to clap pour remercier the health workers.
Staff, yeah.
And she would tell us some anecdotes and stuff, and it really got me thinking that I have this time and I'm making this music and I have this platform, so I might as well try and help the APHP, the hospital service.
Do you think it's important for artists to be socially aware and active like that?
I think it's important to be real. I think for me, it's part of my personality, and my sensitivity is kind of my strength. So I try to use things like that to help and use my platform to help people. But I guess if you're not into that, you don't have to be into it. It's not for everyone. But I do think if you have a platform and you're interested in these things that are happening, you should definitely use it and speak up.
Well, certainly what you did. Let's take a listen to another track off your album. It's called The Truth. Take a listen.
Yeah, hit 20 in November, hit 15 joints last night, remember. I got corona, I'm a loner, I don't share, it's the small things in life, robe a boner everywhere. I see the positive side, till I think about the highs, the lows, I won't try, my prose is so dry. I write shit about life on lo-fi, you can find the lighter shit on my profile.
So that was The Truth off your up-and-coming album. People are calling you the voice of a new generation of rappers. How does that sit with you? Is it a lot of pressure?
Yeah, I guess it's a lot of pressure. I don't know if I would say I'm the voice of a new generation yet, but I guess I could. I mean, I confess I aspire to becoming that. It's a lot of pressure, but as I said, I'm just trying to be authentic and real, so it's always less stressful if you know that you're being your true self, and all you have to do is just show up and be nice and answer the questions, So not too much pressure.
And so you're fluent in English. You're fluent. Well, you're obviously fluent in English. But you're also fluent in French. But your parents are Anglophone. Your father's from the
My
United
dad's
States.
from New York and my mom's from London.
And so you are evolving in the world of French rap as well. How challenging is it for you to find your place in the world of French rap?
It's not easy, I would say. I mean, French people have a lot of apprehensions towards, what they say, French people rapping in English, because I'm obviously French also. So it's not easy, but overall, I see that at the moment, it's working pretty well, and lots of people are supporting me. So it's not too bad. It's always a bit ambiguous and a bit difficult, even in terms of, working on my career. Who do we target? Who am I making music for, really? If I'm in France and my audience might be in the US or in the UK or worldwide. So we're working on it right now.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy it's going well.
And so you've been very open in the past about struggles that you've been able to have with anxiety, even depression. That kind of goes against the idea that a lot of people can have about rap, which seems very ego-driven. You said says that you're quite sensitive. You've been called a sensitive rapper. Do you kind of fit into the rap world that way?
Well, I would say yes and no. In some sense, lots of people have these sort of judgments about what rap is and what it isn't. But for me, I've been listening to rappers who have been dealing with the same issues I have and talking about the same problems. So it doesn't really feel like it's that new, you know. So I think it really depends on what rap you listen to. But if you dig, you can find lots of really talented, really sensitive artists dealing with real problems.
And so you're scheduled to go on tour here in France with the American rapper Mos Def.
Yeah.
As soon as the sanitary situation allows it. That must be very exciting.
Yeah.
Who are the other rappers who inspire you?
Well, I listen to a lot of old school rap, so I would say people like Outkast, Nas, Biggie. New school, people like JID, Isaiah Rashad, Smino, Saba. And yeah, there's this whole wave of rap that I feel the mainstream doesn't really know exists, but who do the same thing I do, talking about emotions and dealing with real issues, like I said. So yeah, that's kind of the wave I follow.
So more sensitive rap, as you were mentioning.
A little, yeah.
And so you're known for your freestyle kind of very quick way of rapping as well. And I've always been curious, is it kind of like jazz improvisation where you practice a lot and then all of a sudden you let your mind go kind of crazy? Or how does it work? How do you write a freestyle?
Depends. I mean, I confess that the content you see on the platform, stuff like that, is really rehearsed and is not improv, but most of the ideas do come from improv when I'm writing. And it's something that I work on a lot. I think it's very important to be able to do that, even if, I wouldn't freestyle right now, but yeah, I'm working on it. Yeah.
So there is that kind of crazy inspiration.
There's an aspect where it's improv, and even if it's not full improv or full freestyle, I could say that I could write a verse in 5 or 10 minutes. So the ideas do really fuse, and you just have to catch them and write it down as soon as possible, and then go on to the next sentence.
Go with the flow.
And go with the flow.
Well, let's actually move on to some other news that's making headlines. France is marking 30 years since the death of Serge Gainsbourg, the legendary singer-songwriter, passed away suddenly on March 2nd, 1991 from a heart attack. To mark the anniversary of his passing, Universal is releasing the entirety of his songs recorded between 1958 and 1987. 20 albums ranging from jazz and yeye to pop and reggae. Gainsbourg left an indelible mark on French music, and 30 years later, his legacy lives on as he continues to inspire artists today. Now, Gainsbourg was really larger than life. He was a dandy. He was incredibly creative and prolific. How does he resonate with artists from your generation?
Well, obviously I grew up with the kind of English-American background, so I'm no expert on Gainsbourg, but I was listening to it last week, and just to see the variety of music, the variety of styles, and the amount of albums, simply the 20 albums, like you said, is so amazing. And I feel like young French people really, have understood his heritage and are really pushing it. And even if I don't listen to Gainsbourg every day, when I was in the French system at school, it was something that would be, even at parties, you would always play 1 or 2 Gainsbourg songs. It's something that French kids really handle well, I think, to like keep the legacy of their French artists like that.
That's for sure. It's definitely part of our cultural heritage here. Next, the American alternative rock superstars, the Kings of Leon, are releasing a highly anticipated 11-track album called When You See Yourself. It's their first new record in 4 years and a reflection on getting older and how far they've come. 2 decades into the career, the band is itching to release new and exciting music. Standout tracks on the LP include this driving song, The Bandit. Take a listen. That was The Bandit by Kings of Leon there. The pandemic has been a really tough blow for everyone, especially for young artists like yourself who are just getting started in their careers. What is the first thing that you're looking forward to as soon as things kind of get back to normalcy, whatever that is?
I would say I really want to travel. That's the thing that's been the most difficult, I think, is just staying in Paris for over 2 years now. Over a year. Travel and working on having people in the US and the UK and all around the world listen to my music And so, yeah, really travel. As soon as we can, I think I'm going to go on a long, long trip. Yeah.
Well, hopefully that'll be sooner than later.
I hope so.
We've got one last bit of music news for you. This is the experimental pop project Bernice, sometimes called Toronto's ever-evolving backing band. They're releasing a new album. It's called Ode de Buongiorno, and it's an ode to the present moment and finding joy in spaces that are familiar but ever-changing. And we're going to leave you with that song. We're going to leave you with a song off that album. It's called It's Me, Robin. Before we go, I want to thank my guest, James the Prophet. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Best of luck with your album release, and hopefully new concerts coming very, very soon.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
For more arts and culture news, you can head out to our website and be sure to stay tuned to France 24. More news is coming up right after this.
What I need to convey, okay, it's so much less simple to give yourself the same love you receive. Believe in your inner value. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
En France 24 nos esforzamos por brindar la mejor información hecha por periodistas de Latinoamérica y del resto del mundo.
We look at how technology is shaping the future, and we show you the latest gadgets you can soon get your hands on.
نقدم لكم الاقتصاد بطريقة مختلفة، نبسط المفاهيم والمصطلحات كي تكتمل الصورة لديكم.
Aquí puedo hablar de medio ambiente, no solo de los problemas que afectan a nuestro planeta, sino también de iniciativas y soluciones que a veces no tienen espacio en televisión.
La différence sur France 24, c'est l'idée du reportage. Nos grands reportages, vous ne les verrez nulle part ailleurs.
Liberté, égalité, actualité.